Hello, this is Basic Electronics Engineering. The course code is EC201. The contact hour is 3 lecture classes. The total contact hour is 36 hours. The credit point of this subject is 3. Myself, Dr. Indranath Sarkar. I am the Associate Professor in the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering of GIS College of Engineering, Kolladi. This course has 4 number of outcomes. We expect the students will be at the end of the course the student will be able to demonstrate PN junction diode, ideal diode, diode models and its circuit analysis, application of diode and special diodes. The student also will be explained how operational amplifiers are modeled and analyzed, and to design operational amplifier circuits to perform operations such as integration, differentiation on electronic signals. The students must analyze the concept of both positive and negative feedback in electronic circuits and its applications. The student must develop the capability to analyze and design simple circuits containing nonlinear elements such as transistors using the concept of load lines, operating points and the incremental analysis. This course is comprised of 6 number of modules. Each module has the number of class limited, that is 5 number of class assigned to module 1 on basic semiconductors, 7 contact hour assigned to module 2 on PN junction diode and its applications. Module 3 has 8 contact hour on bipolar junction transistor. Module 4 has field effect transistor to describe within 6 contact hour. 8 contact hour assigned to module 5 where feedback and operational amplifier will be discussed, and the 2 contact hour assigned to module 6 where the cathode ray oscilloscope will be discussed. This is the prerequisite required for basic electronics engineering. Normally prerequisites are essential to understand a certain course. In this case, as the students are entering after class 12 into BTech courses and the basic electronics engineering is studied in the first year, so here we expect the basic course of electronics engineering progress from the fundamentals of electricity, direct current, devices and circuits, series and parallel circuits, to the study of active and passive components, Ohm's law, Kirchhoff's law, that is Kirchhoff's voltage law and Kirchhoff's current law, as well as Ampere's law. In the modern electronics part of the physics in the 10+2, all these items have been taught. So students should recapitulate these theory as well as mathematical formula before going to opt for basic electronics engineering. So therefore Kirchhoff's law, especially the Kirchhoff's voltage law and Kirchhoff's current law as well as Ampere's law, have plenty of applications in the design part of electronics devices, because basic electronics circuit is normally tells about the component description. That means there are several components exist in basic electronics engineering subject. All these components are defined, its characteristics defined, as well as the combination of such component may produce complex circuitry, and the categories of circuit and its input and output characteristics all have been defined. So basic electronics is an important subject. Here students are going through the description and characteristics of all these components, so that in future whenever they are interested about circuit realization, they shall recall about the characteristics they have studied in basic electronics engineering. And for this subject, the data sheet validation of each of these components are required to be carried out by the student, because some component whatever studied has limited features to be explained within the class, and there are detailed feature exists in the datasheet. If the student is interested to create some model, then student should deal with datasheet, the how to see the datasheet, and how what are the parametric values required to observe from the datasheet will be discussed in the class. So basic electronics engineering is one of the important subject for any engineering domain, because uh, nowadays there are many interdisciplinary projects are going on in which some electronic circuitry exists. So irrelevant of the department, electronic circuit may be applied to many issues. So that is why basic electronics has contribution about the basic characteristics understanding for those components. So students must give full attention about the characteristics as well as description, mathematical equation whenever discussed for each of the components. Now in the course outcome and program outcome mapping, we are seeing that there are 12 number of program outcomes which are mapped to the course outcome statements. So here, as 4 number of course outcome statement exist for basic electronics engineering, they are having different weightages assigned to each of the column of program outcomes. And here 3 depicts the high weightage assigned for a certain mapping, and 2 means the moderate linking, and 1 stands for the least linking. And when there is no link, it is kept vacant with a dash line. Now basic electronics is the foundation engineering subject, as well as it is the basic engineering subject. It has the uses of modern tools regarding the simulation of the circuits, as well as it has long-term relation to the student regarding the implementation of projects. So it's a lifelong learning weightage is very high, as well as various surrounding that is applications in the surrounding environment exist. That is why basic electronics engineering is mostly a foundation subject. That is why at the initial part of the program outcome 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 has a great linkage with basic electronics, as well as program outcome 11 and 12 are also. So if we look at the modern tool uses, as well as the project initiative, as well as the foundation engineering concept, we are getting higher weightage for the basic electronics engineering with those program outcomes. And similarly, if we have some long target, that is after a long duration, we have a target to implement certain circuitry which is useful for the mankind. That type of target may be fulfilled, and that is lifelong learning has a great importance on basic electronics engineering, because we sometimes we have a future target of implementing any circuit or applications for the mankind. So that is why basic electronics are getting higher weightage in that part. The course has objective impart fundamental knowledge to understand the basic of semiconductor and components like diode, transistor, FET, MOSFET, and operational amplifier. It will be it would build mathematical and numerical background for design of electronic circuit and components value. Students equipped with the knowledge and training provided in the course will be able to participate in the design and development and operation in the different area of electronic systems. So therefore basic electronics has a widest domain of application, because it is dealing with the components which are required to implement electronic circuitry. So all the basic components are included regarding its description, input characteristics, output characteristics. So that is why whenever there is a project related work, basic electronics recalled. So that is why it has a long time application for students of any department, because in any department there is a project realization with electronic circuitry. For any domain, it involves uh, the concept of various components of basic electronics. So therefore, this subject is truly important for any department. We are discussing feedback amplifier. The topics to be discussed are the introduction to feedback amplifier, basic amplifier, voltage amplifier, current amplifier, transconductance amplifier, and transresistance amplifier. Today we will discuss feedback amplifier. Feedback amplifier are amplifiers in which an additional circuit feedback network exists. This network samples fraction of the output signal and fed back to the input side to achieve various advantages which could not be achieved using simple basic amplifier. The primary advantage is that we can make the gain stable. There are various internal parametric variations, such as we already have seen in case of transistor biasing, there is the current gain beta, the base emitter voltage, which are varying from one transistor to another transistor. So that is why the gain becomes unstable if there is a replacement of the transistor in a basic amplifier. So using this feedback amplifier, we can make our gain independent of various such internal parametric variations. Apart from this, there are various requirement of the input impedance and output impedance of the basic amplifier, which is needed to be increased or decreased depending on the electrical quantity, whether it is a voltage or current. So that type of impedance enhancement which could be achieved using this feedback amplifier. Also, using feedback amplifier, we can increase the operating bandwidth. So there are limitations of feedback amplifier also exist, such as we are increasing the bandwidth of the operation, then the gain of the feedback amplifier could be reduced. Also, improper design of the feedback amplifier may make the gain unstable. So apart from these two shortcomings or limitations, there are many more advantages exist in case of feedback amplifier. Now, before going to discuss this feedback amplifier, let us discuss about the basic amplifier. There are four basic amplifier categories. The first is the voltage amplifier, second is current amplifier, trans-resistance amplifier, and trans-conductance amplifier. Now, what is voltage amplifier? In case of voltage amplifier, the input is voltage and the output is also voltage quantity. For current amplifier, the input is current and the output is current. For the trans-resistance, the input is current and the output is voltage. Now, why it is trans-resistance? Because the transfer gain is normally the ratio of the output to the input. So when the output is voltage and input is current, the ratio looks like an impedance or resistance. So that is why the transfer gain has been termed as trans-resistance amplifier. Similarly, trans-conductance amplifier has the input voltage and output current. So therefore, the transfer gain becomes the ratio of the output quantity current to the input quantity voltage. So let us come to describe about the voltage amplifier. Now see, this is the block diagram of the voltage amplifier, in which the source resistance, the source side is this one, there is a source voltage, and this is the source resistance, and this is the input resistance of the voltage amplifier, and this is the output side, where A means the amount of gain which is given by this voltage amplifier, and Vi is the input voltage which is appearing across the input resistance, and this is the output resistance of the amplifier. and here it is the load resistance. So remember, this source side Vs and Rs, and on the load side RL, they are outside the voltage amplifier. So therefore, within this marked region, this is known as the voltage amplifier. Now see this one carefully. Suppose this is your source voltage, need to be fed to the voltage amplifier, and you want to feed the voltage outside to be maximally fed to the input side. So what is the basic requirement? Should these RS should be high or low? It should be low. That is, if it is low, then only Vs will be mostly fed to the input side. That is, Vi will be almost equal to Vs if Rs is ideally 0. But practically Rs is not 0. The practical relation is Rs is very small compared to the input impedance of the basic amplifier, which is a voltage amplifier. Similarly, you need this amplified voltage to be fed to the load. So therefore, what should be the value of this output impedance? That should be very low. Then only this voltage will be maximally fed to the RL. So ideally R0 is 0, but practically this R0 is very small compared to RL. So these are the two basic requirements for the voltage amplifier. So remember, ideally Rs equal to R0 equal to 0, but they are not practically 0. So instead of rubbing out the whole thing, I am changing the source side, because now I am going to describe the current amplifier. So this is the Thevenin equivalent of the current source, where the current source is in parallel to the source resistance, and here it will be now see, this is the current amplifier. What we have changed in the circuit, you see, within the basic amplifier there is the input impedance remains same as is in the earlier case for voltage amplifier, and this is the current gain A, that is amplifying the input current I suffix I by A times, and this is the output impedance which is coming in parallel to the current source. Now this is a dependent source because it depends on the input current, and this is the load resistance. So therefore, within the basic amplifier there is a small change in this side, and this one is the current source, which is a Thevenin equivalent current source. So therefore, in this case, what is the basic requirement? That is, Ri and Rs, what should they have a relation to maintain? If Rs is very high, then what will happen? The source current will not be flowing through this. So ideally Rs should be infinite. That means it should be open circuit, so that none of the current will be flowing through this resistance, and most of the current will be fed as input to the basic amplifier. So therefore, I suffix I, that is input current of the basic amplifier, should be ideally equal to the source current if this Rs is infinite, or we can write Rs should be as large as possible with respect to the input impedance of the basic amplifier, which is a current amplifier. Similarly, for the output one, we need the most of the current at the output side to be equal to this current source. So therefore this R0 should be as large as possible so that none of the current will be flowing through this impedance, and therefore I can write R0 should be as large as possible with respect to the load resistance. So these are the basic requirement for the current amplifier. So let us go to another category which is known as the trans resistance amplifier. For the trans resistance amplifier, we already have discussed that the transfer gain is resistive. That means the output is voltage quantity and the input is current quantity. So therefore, we should not change the input side. It is already current source. Only you have to change the output side. So it should be changed to a voltage source, which is a dependent source. So this is the change that we needed for the trans resistance amplifier, and this relation will be changed. So what should be the criteria for the input impedance and source impedance? Here is again, most of the current should not flow through this, but it should be input to the basic amplifier. So therefore, here is also our RS should be as large as possible with respect to RI, its input impedance of the basic amplifier. And here, most of the voltage should be fed to the load resistance. Therefore, this RT should be as small as possible, or ideally zero, that is short circuit. So therefore, R0 should be as small as possible. So R0 should be as small as possible with respect to the load resistance. So this is about the trans resistance amplifier, where this A refers to the transfer gain of the transresistive amplifier. Now we are going to describe about the transconductance amplifier. For the transconductance amplifier, the output should be current quantity and the input should be voltage quantity. Then only we are getting the transfer gain as the output current by input voltage. So therefore, this output current source for the transconductance amplifier should be changed to a current source. So therefore, this output resistance comes in parallel. And here it should be a voltage source. Now see here, the output quantity is current and input quantity is voltage. Therefore, it is a transconductance amplifier. Now let us find out the relation. What should be in between RS and RI. So here, as it is the voltage source, so we need most of the voltage to be paid to the input resistance. So therefore, this RS should be as low as possible with respect to RI. So here is again RS should be as low as possible with respect to RI. And this is the dependent current source at the output side, and this current should be as much as possible as this I0. So therefore, this R0 should be as high as possible, because none of the current we are expecting through this resistance. So therefore, ideally it is infinite, but still it should be very large. So R0 should be very large compared to the load resistance. So always this very high or very low normally related to the 10 times of that resistance. That is, Ri should be as large as possible. Rs means if I take Rs as 1 kilo ohm, then Ri should be at least 10 kilo ohm. Okay, so these are the practical considerations for which we are getting the relation to be very high or very low. So this is about all about the 4 categories of the basic amplifier. Now in this basic amplifier, the limitation is that the gain is very much insensitive.
that is they are varying uh, exceptionally due to the internal parametric variations. So therefore the gain should be stabilized. So in the next video we will discuss about the feedback amplifier, where we will discuss how a additional circuit which is called feedback network could be employed to stabilize this gain, as well as the input impedance and output impedance could be enhanced.